Namaskar. We all know that we are celebrating Shikshak Parv, and today the topic is alternative model of schooling. As you know that this Shikshak Parv being organized by Ministry of Education along with its bodies, autonomous bodies, and wherein we are disseminating the elements which has been posited there in the National Education Policy 2020. So, it is a very good occasion and medium to disseminate what is there in the National Education Policy with teachers, students, different stakeholders, parents, government organizations, state functionaries, and we are very successfully disseminating the things or the provisions which are there in the National Education Policy. And you all know that alternative model of schooling has been very extensively expressed there in the National Education Policy, and even otherwise we know that alternative model of schooling is the in thing. And yes, we also know that it has seen a journey of many decades. If we talk of the days when we had education guarantee scheme and alternative institution, alternative educational institution, and then the open school system came into the country. And presently, you know, with the flexibility that it offers, and it is well taken by different kind of students, parents, and nevertheless presently we are talking about home schooling also. So, these are the things, and there are many reasons as is stated by parents or stakeholders for the alternative model of schooling. Maybe the condition of the house or the student learner is not getting time to get into the formal school system, or the issue of migration, or the issue of earning while learning. So, there are many reasons. But very recently, if we talk of national education policy, then there the kind of flexibility that we want to offer to our learners, that also calls for alternative model of schooling. To discuss about that and to deliberate about that. So, friends, we have this session today. We are organizing, and we are connected across the country with different modes and mediums, and you are watching to this program. I again welcome you all to this program, and the flow of program would be like this. Then there will be a small presentation by me about what we are going to deliberate and discuss, and then there will be a panel discussion, and after that we will be seeing certain successful stories from the NIS, and it is a point of rejoice for all of us that certain learners from NIS system are here with us, and certain learners will be connected virtually with us, and we will be listening to them and their views on the open schooling. So, with this a small presentation, and then we will be seeing a documentary also, the alternative model of schooling and what it offers. So, this presentation on alternative model of schooling. And simply we want to discuss here, and we want to see the provisions which are there in the national education policy, and we will be doing that with panelists and certain alumni of National Open School. And then we will be discussing about the provisions which are there, and the objective is simply to see that what possibility could be there, and with the experiences of our panelists who have experience in the field of alternative model of schooling, we will be discussing that how we can look forward. And you see, this slide is very important in the sense as it discuss about the different facets of alternative model of schooling, because it handles the issue of access, and we have to see that what could be different ways of access for alternative model of schooling. Then there it offers the choices, what could be different choices. We all know that the national education policy is saying that there would be no hard boundaries, and there will be no hard separation of streams, and surely we have to see that our learners in this big country, they have to show their footprints in the world arena, and they have to be skilled, and they have to be equipped with such a vocation or education which will put them in the world of work. So, there is choices also, and the flexibility with what we are offering all these choices. Mobility is also an issue which is there with different learners. So, that facet of alternative model we will be discussing today. And you see here comes the role of teacher also, because the national education policy says in chapter 3 and 6 that we should revive the different earlier models of alternative schooling. It talks about oriental learning centers also, but one point it says that it has to conform to the national curriculum framework for school education. So, role of teacher becomes also very important, that we have to see that the learning outcome that is envisaged there, and in the documents of government, in the document of NCERT, that should also be matched with, and all teaching learning process has to keep the learning outcomes in the center stage. So, role of teacher is also very important, and then how we can leverage the information and communication technology. I would just like to express here that we find that in the alternative model of schooling, there are certain options which as of now is not there in the formal schooling system. To quote one is on demand examination. For example, we are offering here at National Institute of Open Schooling on demand examination, which is not available to learners from different other boards as of now. So, possibilities are there. We have to see how we can leverage the information and communication technology, and you all know that we are moving from print rich content to the content which are there in the available to learner for asynchronous learning. So, be it video, different e-content, QR coded energized materials. So, these are also the areas which we will be discussing today. And last but not the least, the assessment and evaluation. This is very important. Yesterday also in the Shikshak Park, the session was about assessment reform. We all know that the national education policy has very emphatically said and mentioned about the assessment reform. So, in this alternative model of schooling also, assessment is very important, and we have to see the learners develop their cognitive skills, but more importantly or equally important, they have to develop their affective and psychomotor domains also. So, with these all points we will be discussing today with the panelists, and now again this alumni meet is here, and it is a very good opportunity for all of us that they have agreed to come here, and we will be just discussing their experiences as a learner of alternative model of schooling. They had been learner of National Institute of Open Schooling. We will be asking them about their experiences, and what was the reason for choosing this alternative model for them, and what suggestion they want to make based on their experiences, and afterwards when they have joined the world of work, what they want to say to us. So, this is a brief flow of program that I just wanted to place before you all, and now we will be watching a documentary about the alternative model of schooling and certain provisions and system opportunities that National Institute of Open Schooling is presently offering. So, thank you all, and now we will be watching the documentary.
Education is a very important tool, not only in the economic development of any country, but also for achieving social justice and equality by adapting human values. The Prime Minister of India said, "Students will study in a scientific way and be prepared for the challenges of the 21st century." Under this backdrop, the National Education Policy 2020 charts new road and very ambitious education reforms. It aims to facilitate learning for all students, including children with special needs or children of migrant workers, by broadening the scope of school education to facilitate multiple pathways to learning involving formal and non-formal education modes. The policy advocates facilitating lateral mobility through credit transfers and greater flexibility and choice of subjects according to their talents and interests. As per policy, Open and Distance Learning (ODL) programs offered by the National Institute of Open Schooling (NIOS) will be expanded and strengthened for meeting the learning needs of young people in India who are not able to attend a physical school. The policy also lays emphasis on modernization of other alternative models of schooling such as Gurukul, Pathshala, Madrasa and homeschooling. Integration of vocational into the school curriculum is the focus area of the NEP 2020. The state open schools will develop analogous programs in regional languages with NIOS offering technical and academic support. To achieve this goal and to set a sustained paradigm in education, National Institute of Open Schooling (NIOS) is providing education for all as an effective and largest alternative model of education evident from 30 years of successful journey.
National Institute of Open Schooling, ensuring access to education to the last person of the society. Presently, NIOS is giving smile to the faces and self-respect to more than 40 lakh learners nationwide. NIOS is with you at your step with easy and sustained solution of education, offering a journey of knowledge, understanding and training. Established in the year 1989 as an autonomous institution, the key responsibilities of the institute is to provide easy accessible education to the children, youth, disabled, women and elderly people of rural and backward classes through distance mode, from Ladakh to Kanyakumari and from Kutch to Tinsukia. NIOS has connected the variant masses to introduce them with the education. There is no question as how the society is deprived from the quality education. Rather, the question is how to reach the last person seeking education according to their needs within their social environment.
ये जो दीदी आती है हमारे गांव में, इसने बताया कि दोबारा पढ़ने का मौका प्रोग्राम चल रहा है। अगर आप कोई भी दीदी पढ़ना चाहती है, इच्छुक हो तो 10वीं या 12वीं में फॉर्म भर सकती हो और पढ़ना शुरू कर सकती हो। तो मैंने वापस एडमिशन लिया 10वीं में।
Following the policies and directions from Ministry of Education, Government of India, National Institute of Open Schooling is providing golden opportunities to the learners to complete their school education, and it is emerging as an effective alternative model of education. NIOS provides variety of academic courses to the learners, including Open Basic Education, Secondary, Senior Secondary, Vocational courses and Life Enrichment programs with dynamic use of technology for completing the school education. Every year, more than 5 lakh learners are registered with the NIOS academic and vocational programs. These learners may vary from ITI aspirants, army personnel, weavers to ASHA workers. NIOS academic programs can be done from home by choosing online courses as per the need and pace of the learners. There is also no upper age limit to take admission in NIOS programs.
I am Professor R. Jagannathan. I was the Vice Chancellor of the Middle East University in the United Arab Emirates. When I was 65 years of age, I developed a passion to do medicine. But the Medical Council of India told that I didn't take biology in my erstwhile 12th standard. At this point, I decided to join the NIOS and took class 11 and class 12 biology and passed and joined the medicine program, that is the MD program in West Indies. The NIOS has provided the pathway for me to pursue medicine at this age.
NIOS conducts public examinations twice a year for its learners. Along with transfer of credit, that is TOC, of subjects passed from other boards, the unsuccessful learners can pass 10th or 12th examination in the same year by appearing through ICT-enabled on-demand examination of NIOS on any day as per their wish and preparation. Considering the skill development schemes of the Government of India, NIOS offers over 100 job-oriented vocational courses. After successfully completing these courses, the learners are getting employment opportunities in various professional fields according to their merit and interest.
मैंने NIOS से ब्यूटी कल्चर का वोकेशनल कोर्स किया था। मैंने अपना एक खुद का पार्लर चलाया है और मेरे 2 छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं। मैं अब अपने अंदर कॉन्फिडेंस रखती हूँ कि मैं उनके लिए भी कुछ कर सकती हूँ, उन्हें अच्छी एजुकेशन दे सकती हूँ।
मैंने NIOS से ड्रेस डिज़ाइनिंग का कोर्स किया है जो मई 2018 में कंप्लीट हुआ है। इस कोर्स को करते बहुत बेनिफिट मिला है, मेरी प्लेसमेंट भी हुई है।
NIOS successfully conducted a diploma program in elementary education, that is DLED, to train the untrained in-service elementary teachers across the country. The dream of these untrained elementary teachers at national level has been realized and fulfilled by the DLED program of NIOS. NIOS has also made successful efforts to provide various courses on advanced yoga education, Vedic education, and Indian knowledge tradition. NIOS is supporting its learners and supplementing the self-learning material through TV, Swayam Prabha, community radio Radio Vahini at 91.2 MHz, Mukt Vidya Vani, mobile app, and YouTube. NIOS courses are also available as MOOCs on the Swayam online platform. In addition to these, subjects are developed in Indian Sign Language and being aired on the dedicated Swayam Prabha Gyanamrit channel. NIOS's talking books are also available for the Divyang learners.
NIOS में जब मैं आई थी तो मैंने देखा यहाँ पे साइन लैंग्वेज में काफ़ी कोर्सेज़ हैं। मैं उसको थैंक्स करना चाहती हूँ और मुझे काफ़ी अच्छा लगा यहाँ पे NIOS की टीम से मिल कर के।
The National Institute of Open Schooling (NIOS) has a pivotal role to play in the promotion and development of open schooling in the country. There are 20 state open schools running successfully in the country. NIOS has also supported professional individuals as sportspersons, artists, writers, musicians, and literators. NIOS has time and again proved itself to set paradigm for millions of successful and proud learners.
Alternative model of school education is choice of many learners for its effective features and inherent flexibility in consonance with the NEP 2020. NIOS will emerge as the largest alternative pedagogical ways of education to improve the easy access of education by innovations to achieve the goals set in NEP 2020.
So, you just viewed the documentary and I feel that you might have found it a little longer than your expectation, but surely the kind of flexibility that the alternative model of schooling offers and the kind of opportunities that the National Education Policy 2020 offers towards the alternative of model of schooling, it's really very interesting to know. You might be aware about a case of Malvika Joshi, which that girl preferred to opt for homeschooling, and she got a very fabulous scholarship from the MIT. So, and as you just saw the case of that Honorable Vice Chancellor who wanted to opt for biology, and then he went for that, and there are many other cases with NIS to its fold. So, with all these opportunities, we are here for the discussion. So, now the session will be devoted to the views of panelists. I would like to introduce panelists here. There are two panelists, very experienced panelists with us. So, we have Professor N.K. Ambasht with us, and Professor N.K. Ambasht is a very known name in the area of non-formal education, and he was a professor and head with National Council of Educational Research and Training, and he was chairman of National Institute of Open Schooling, and that duration saw many new initiatives at the level of National Institute of Open Schooling, and he was a visiting professor with Jamia Millia Islamia, many other universities, and he was is pro vice chancellor of IASE University. He has been member of the board of management of Indira Gandhi National Open University, and he has been member of board of many experts group with planning commission, which is now NITI, you all know, and there are many awards to his credit. To name a few, Nehru Literacy Award, and the Seva Ratna Award, Vidya Ratna Award, Radha Krishnan International Award. And friends, you know, whenever there is some discussion about non-formal education among the fraternity, the work of Professor N.K. Ambasht is remembered and talked about. So, I welcome Professor Ambasht to this program, and our other panelist who is joining us virtually, Professor Gireshwar Mishra. He is ex-Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya, and he is a national, he has to his credit National Award in the field of social science 2009, and he is a Fulbright scholarship holder, and his journey is very long. He is an alumnus of Gorakhpur University, then he started his academic career from Gorakhpur University, then to Allahabad University, then to Bhopal University, then a very long stint with the Delhi University. And friends, the kind of administrative experience along with the academic forte that is attached with the name Professor Gireshwar Mishra is really fabulous to see. And you know, whenever there is a talk about psychology or societal development in the country, one cannot miss Professor Gireshwar Mishra's work or his thoughts on these topics, and he has been discussing and lecturing about alternative model of schooling, alternative model of education, and you can say the variation in the society, psychological situation, socio-economic condition. Professor Gireshwar Mishra is a well known name in that. So, I welcome Professor Gireshwar Mishra ji. He has joined us virtually, and so first I will be requesting Professor N.K. Ambasht to dwell upon the national education policy and its provisions and the possibility that alternative model of schooling can offer to the learners in the country. So, Professor Ambasht.
Thank you very much for the kind words that you have spoken about me. I may seem to be a little pretentious, but I am involved in alternative schooling right from the word go. In early 70s, we started a project for non-enrolled and dropout children in rural areas, and the project finally came to be known as Bhumi Aadhar model of education. It was in 5 different areas: tribal area, hilly area, rural area, etc., etc. And the first and foremost question that we asked ourselves is, why are we teaching what we are teaching? Which culminated into a kind of a book that came up much later. The question was that the difference between a syllabus and a curriculum was not very well understood by those who were implementing the scheme of teaching children. They thought that syllabus and curriculum are synonymous, which was unfortunate. The same learning outcome can be had by various means. We adopted this kind of model in our experimentation, and fortunately the United Nations at New York took cognizance of this, and they sent a team to visit us and see how we are doing. I am not talking about UNESCO, I am talking about UN headquarters. And one lady, Adelaide Carnocane, I still remember her, because she was invalid, she walked on crutches, and she came to visit us and see. And there we had all the curricular outcome through work situation. The children were working, weaving carpets, the children were growing mushrooms and all kinds of things in different centers according to the need. So what happened at that time was, it caught attention, international attention, and it came to be known popularly as Bhumi Aadhar project. This was to my mind, I would say, a research-based, authenticated alternative schooling model. I was working with the NCERT at the time, and we had a team of 5 people. Fortunately, only 2 more beyond me are surviving. One was Dr. Daljit Gupta, the other is Professor S.Y. Shah. So, the rest have withered away with the time. Then you see, when talking about alternative schooling, we came to analyze that, well, these children who are working, who are partly in the field of work, even though they should not be there, but the family circumstances are such that they have to either help the parents by some kind of part-time work. So, how can they learn? And in that connection, we brought out a package of material, learning material, which was self-learning material in that format. One was a chart with a pond. In that pond there were depiction of some people coming from toilet and washing their hands, some persons bathing in that pond, some buffalo drinking from that, some person washing their clothes, and around that was a road on which a car was going and honking, and beyond that there was a chimney which was emanating smoke. Now, they take this, imagine this poster, and then there was point, what is happening, and the children would discuss what is happening, and they would discover knowledge or gyan, not knowledge, Gyan. Gyan is something more comprehensive than knowledge per se. It's not information. It's something more than that. So, they would discover that and they would then assimilate that. So, this kind of charts were prepared. Then there were some self-learning materials like the one that I am showing you here is Ramu and Narbakshi Bagh, a story developed by a workshop in by some 30 people, and this talks about the learning outcome that was expected from the curriculum was built into a picture book like this, and the learning outcome is given at the end of it. For example, in this Ramu and Narbakshi शेर, मनुष्य को परिवार की जरूरत क्यों पड़ती है? Now this is concept of family. Then what is tahsil? What is district? What is state? And where should नरभक्षी बाघ को पकड़कर चिड़िया के घर में क्यों रखा गया? That is protection of the wildlife. Now these concepts, which could have taken one full, I would say, a number of chapters, have been converted into a self-learning material. So teacher intervention is minimized. The single teacher is true situation. There could be children who could be learning this. This I did when I was with the NCERT as head of the non-formal and alternative schooling. Similarly, the most intimidating subject that a child comes across in the primary sector is mathematics. And the children, they just get, this is the psychological problem with many of the children, particularly who are not going to the school with mathematics. So we developed a kind of a textbook, no textbook, only teacher guide. The teacher guide, Gadit Marg Sandarshika, and all the learning outcomes that were developed, that were listed in the class 3, like say 100 से 1000 के बीच की संख्याओं को घटते बढ़ते क्रम में सजा सकना. Now this has been converted into play. The play is something like this. You see on the screen there are three students who are wearing placard of 3 single digit numbers. Now the rest of the children who are playing, they call out a number of 3 digits and then they form that 543. Now this is turned around and it makes 345. If the children change places, that means they have understood the place value. Similarly, all this was only a teacher handbook, only the teacher was given this, and he would make children learn through play with techniques. Now, in the open learning system, one is the progression at one's own pace, and this defied our formal system of a 6-monthly or annual examination. I may learn some content in say less than the prescribed time or take more time. So I experimented with some of these alternative models and I started a school which was a non-formal school in the Satya Sai Institute of International Human Values, wherein I got my students from the traffic lights who were begging. So with the help of this Satya Sai Institute, I brought them in, and there was no book given to them. There was no classroom like class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All children belonged at various period of time to different groups. So if the one is doing very well in mathematics, he may be at grade 3, and one is doing good in social sciences, he may be at grade 5, and at the same time he may be at grade 2 in the language. So, they would keep moving from one place to another. This was another experiment which was again supported by the National Institute of Open Schooling because they took the open basic education examination of these children. So, we found that the progression of child varied from child to child, and this kind of sheet was prepared in terms of learning outcomes. So, the learning outcome of each child was, for example, here is Barkat, and he is on unit 1 on 650908, and on 3608 he moves to this. So, his progression is here, and the second child's progression is much slower. So, the end point, each child reaches the end point before, not on a specific date, but according to one's own progression. And once the end of the curricular learning outcome is reached here at this point, he takes the examination. So, there is nothing like failure, there is nothing like frustration of failure, and these children, many of them passed class 5 in 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, and maybe some took 4 years. The problem of reinstating these children who were beggars at the street traffic lights was to get them into class 6. And the Lodi Colony Municipal School first refused to have them, saying that they come from non-formal sector. But on my personal insistence, they took the first batch and found that they were doing much better because of their experiential learning was much higher of much higher order than the academic learning. So, their academic learning was augmented by experiential learning. Next year they said, I will take all those children who graduate class 5 from the NIOS Open Basic Education into our schools. So, that kind of success we have had. This set me on course to question our evaluation system. That was a basic challenge to me. I asked questions because at the end of examination, I found that the two newspapers were full with galore that so many children committed suicide because of the poor results or failure in the examination. And I asked myself, I as chairman of an examination board, am I not responsible for this? And why should a child be so much frustrated by one stroke of examination that he is forced to commit suicide? The idea struck very deeply into my mind, and I was emotionally very upset. So, I started thinking, what is the purpose of examination? Is it a stamping process, or is it an opportunity to self-introspect, to give them some kind of occasion to diagnose where one is weak and where one is strong? And the analogy that I took was that there is a pathological lab. You go there, you get your blood tested, find your hemoglobin is 7, then you take some medicines, then you again go and get your hemoglobin tested, and you find that you have reached 11. So, you have the occasions to self-correct, to medicate, to concentrate, and then when you are satisfied, then you take the final, okay, I am all right, give me a certificate. This was the basic idea, basic tenet on which on-demand examination system was made. And then it so happened that some children missed their examination because the cavalcade of Deputy Prime Minister and Prime Minister was passing through, and they were stopped. All traffic was jammed, and they reached the center late, and therefore they couldn't. So this made me think, why should a board be so powerful as to waste my 1 year's time? Why shouldn't I be the one who can go to center and say, I am ready, please have me tested and give me my result. So these were some of the motivating factors that led to, I would say, development of on-demand examination system, which is now in vogue, although I would want it to be further developed, evolved into with the I would say development of e-learning, there are strong possibilities. So I am very happy that NIOS is organizing an on-demand examination system very effectively, very with great credit, with great I would say success. But there is still, I would say, there is a lot more to be done in this regard. And finally, in the alternative schooling, I found that our learners had some special qualities, which is in addition to the academic qualities. So I was wondering, what is my certificate reflective of, or does it reflect the person that that a child is, rather than his academic rote memorization, reproduction capacities, understanding, etc., etc. So we worked with the NIOS at that time and evolved a kind of certificate which also states, in terms of personality traits, the qualities like that Mr. So and so has passed this examination, it is here. But then what kind of person he is, so virtues have been listed here: cleanliness, cooperation, discipline, patriotism, tolerance, courage. On these parameters, the teacher or the instructor or gives him A, B, C kind of category, and that means that once you give this certificate, you know that apart from his academic person, what kind of person he or she is, which is not obtainable in any board examination to my knowledge until now. And this must proliferate to our formal examination systems, particularly because academic excellence does not mean that you are an excellent human being. You may be excellent human being, but you may not be academically that excellent, or vice versa. So if we are to develop a kind of a national person, nationalistic person with patriotism, person with emotions, person with loving our nature, there must be some kind of tool to assess that Mr. X is a top 99 percentile student, but as a person he is very callous. Should he be there, or a person with 95% percentile in academic and also a very sympathetic person and emotive person? So these are some of the kind, because the examination is not holistically, you are not examining the learner. So in this alternative mode of evaluation, can we have some kind of new inputs with regard to assessing that you are a compassionate man, and at the same time you are also a good academic person. You see, this brings me to one more situation. The whole paradigm of education is knowledge, which is now equated to information, understanding, which makes the personality of that you comprehend what knowledge is and how you are going to internalize in your, then skill. What kind of skill, whether it is a cognitive or in domain or in affective domain. These three are basically examinable areas which our boards are concentrating. But this is the base foundation on which you are building a person, and person is not with knowledge, understanding and skill, but he has a habit, attitude and values which are not being measured by any kind of tool as of now. So, the comprehensive knowledge to values becomes a comprehensive totality of a person. And our examination, our education system is one who builds a human being, and that human being has these three non-cognitive areas, habit, attitude and values, which are not being measured and not being listed in your achievement. So, what can you do with regard to that? How to measure that you are a good person? How do you emote with others? These are some of the challenges that we should address ourselves. And in this, let me, with last point that I want to make is that our entire education system is concentrated on perpetuating or strengthening my left hemisphere of the brain, which deals with mathematical skill, cognitive skill, reasoning, scientific skill. So, I always ask questions in terms of this. The right hemisphere of the brain, which is the storehouse, or I would say emotive areas, love, sympathy, empathy, identifying people. And there is a, if you have studied some of the latest literature in the positron movement within the brains, you will find that there is an interaction between the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain, and the personality of the individual is determined by this kind of movement from left to right hemisphere. So, if there is a balance, you would be a balanced person. If there is concentration, more concentration on the side, left hemisphere, then you will be a stark rationalist. Why should I do this? Why, to what advantage will this work be to my? So, you become more self-centric. But if you are emotively balanced, then you will see, by this action, how am I going to help the humanity? So, in this context, it is very necessary that there is some kind of balance between these two, and researchers have shown that yoga and meditation etc. have increased positron concentration in the right hemisphere of brain, and this the new education policy has reiterated, or I would say emphasized this aspect, and therefore, we must look at this whole entire process of educational transaction, that we produce a good human being rather than producing, in contrast, good human being versus a stark rationalist. These are the two choices between us, before us, and we could take a call on this. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Professor Ambast. You have very rightly sketched out that the alternative model of schooling has to also conform to the national curriculum framework for education, school education, be it the learning outcome or be it the progression of the learning or be it the evaluation reform that is posited there in the policy, all alternative model of schooling have to conform to that. So, we will be taking a few questions later on, but now I request Professor Gireshwar Mishra ji, who is joining us virtually. So, sir, please, we want to listen to you on what policy says about alternative model of schooling and what's your take on the provisions there.
Am I audible?
Yeah, sir, you are audible.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You are
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for initiating this kind of deliberation about alternative models of education. I understand that the initiative by NIOS has been very effective to supplement the formal system of education that we have. I would like to bring home the point that the presence of alternative model of education is a significant component in at least 3 respects. One is that formal mode of education is saturated in several respects. The system has limitations and the hope for participation the formal education, as Professor Ambasht was referring to, emphasizes more on the cognitive and intellectual, and the affective part is missing, the value part is missing, so it is not complete. It has overemphasis on that, which relate to the divide that we have created between the public sector. I'm very serious about it. We have private schools, the education at a rate which cannot be afforded by a middle class person. So formal education has its own problems and it can't cover the whole spectrum of society, and it is incomplete. Now, as a response to that, there has been effort on the part of many people. As we know that Mahatma Gandhi, Krishnamurti, even Swami Vivekananda, there are many people have made efforts to an alternative mode of education, and that provides opportunity to help children to grow, to realize their potential, and to respect the variety of talent that they have. So the alternative models of education have been present, and we have created a formal system of education which is a kind of a legacy that we have from the British. We have made some efforts, some changes have been introduced, but we are not happy with that. The new education policy realizes that the entire framework of education should be made India-centric, should respect our local indigenous problems, the resources that we have, and at the same time it also tries to emphasize the point that students to become global citizens. So we are open to a variety of alternatives. Alternatives are important to make education diverse. I want to emphasize this point that there is diversity in talent, in interest, in terms of preparedness. Not only that, we have people who are specially abled or differently abled. We have people who are located in different parts where we don't have modern facilities. So, in terms of ecology, in terms of cultural background, in terms of talent, we have variety. We have to attend to that. I don't perceive NIOS simply as a system which supplements the formal education. I want to perceive it as an opportunity to help a variety of talents, outline the various facets of NIOS and open schooling. In particular, the pace of a student is very important, and the place is also very important. The child is free to organize the pace of learning, and the NIOS system as it exists has scope to nurture different kinds of talents. It's very satisfying and gratifying that the NIOS has been open to all kinds of vocations. It is very significant departure from the formal system. I would like to see that the NIOS system as an open mode of learning should cater to a broader domain of skills and opportunities to students, different kinds of backgrounds, and that has been happening slowly. What I have gathered is that there are certain problems in terms of getting more and more participation from the rural areas, and also having more and more participation from those sections who are disadvantaged and deprived. So their progress is quite slow. They take many attempts to clear. And in fact, that problem has been noted in case of even higher levels of learning. The Indira Gandhi National Open University too has this kind of data that the participation from the rural sector and participation from the socio-economically disadvantaged section is low. So there is energy so that sections also and they are enabled participation in the democratic process. Professor Ambasht was talking about ज्ञान. मेरा ख्याल है कि व्यक्तिगत विकास के लिए जहाँ तक बौद्धिक क्षमताओं का विकास आवश्यक है, वहीं पर मूल्यों की दृष्टि से भी उनका विकास अत्यंत आवश्यक है. जब तक समाज में नैतिकता को आदर नहीं मिलेगा, चरित्र को हम महत्व नहीं देंगे, तब तक देश के लिए जो मानव संसाधन हम तैयार कर रहे हैं वह देश के विकास के लिए उपयोगी नहीं होगा। यह एक बड़ी कठिनाई हमारे सामने है। जहां तक हमारी औपचारिक शिक्षा की व्यवस्था है, फॉर्मल एजुकेशन की व्यवस्था है, वहां पर कंपटीशन, वहां पर प्रतिद्वंदिता भयानक रूप से है। आप उसका परिणाम देख सकते हैं कि दिल्ली में 95% अंक पा करके भी एक इंटरमीडिएट की परीक्षा सीबीएसई का परिणाम ले करके भी उचित विषय में अध्ययन का अवसर नहीं मिल पा रहा है। ये जिस तरह का मूल्यांकन का विधान हमने विकसित किया है, असेसमेंट की प्रोसेस विकसित की है, वहां पर ऐसी विपत्ति है कि आप 98% पा करके भी आप अपने वांछित विद्यालय में प्रवेश नहीं पा रहे हैं। यह एक बड़ी भारी टिप्पणी है हमारी पूरी व्यवस्था की। I think it's very important to see that how our teaching learning incorporates elements of feedback as far as progress of learning is considered. Assessment helps to grow. अब परीक्षा के परिणाम को लेकर के किस तरह की मानसिक समस्याएं खड़ी होती हैं, बहुत सारे बच्चे युवा आत्महत्या तक कर रहे हैं। ये परीक्षा का जो दबाव है वह कहीं दूर होने की उसकी गुंजाइश हमको अपनी व्यवस्था में करनी पड़ेगी। आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू सी, एंड आई फाइंड दैट the systems like NIOS and alternative schooling provide such an opportunity to create mechanisms for assessment, alternative mechanisms of assessment, where the of skills, competencies, and the kind of improvement which takes place in the they are able to document that. पर जो उल्लेख NEP 2020 में मिलता है और जिसका प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी उल्लेख किया कि भाई जो हमारा रिजल्ट कार्ड है उसकी परिभाषा बदलनी पड़ेगी, उसके अंतर्गत क्या हो इसके ऊपर विचार करना पड़ेगा ताकि उसका और सार्थक उपयोग हो सके, वह दबाव का माध्यम न हो। परीक्षा की पूरी व्यवस्था को पुनः हमको परिभाषित करना पड़ेगा, तभी हम विद्यार्थियों को उनकी रुचि के अनुसार उनके सीखने में सहायक हो सके। आई थिंक assessment should be part of teaching learning process and not as something towards which the entire teaching learning is guided. आप ऐसे देखिए कि पूरी पढ़ाई का उद्देश्य है परीक्षा पास करना। ये जो हमारे मन में बैठ गया है, इस भ्रम को तोड़ने की जरूरत है और इसके बड़े दुष्परिणाम हमारे सामने आ रहे हैं। बहुत सारे ऐसे युवा मिलते हैं जो बहुत अच्छा प्राप्तांक लेकर के भी उतनी योग्यता नहीं रखते। यह एक दुखद पक्ष है। So it is important to see that teaching, learning and assessment should help to be individual in totality. This is an important area where we need to pay attention. I would also like to pose another important issue which has not been referred to in earlier presentations, and that is that please don't consider NIOS as the only alternative. I have already mentioned that there are many other kinds of schooling. we need to see what can be learned from those different systems. What is being followed in the system which is along the lines of Sri Aurobindo and the mother? We have effective modes of interaction between teacher and student. The open learning system that is with NIOS should also interact with these different kinds of systems which are in place. So I think it's an important issue that how the certification process can be linked with such alternative models of education. There are many difficulties in that. Somehow or other, we are more inclined towards certificates, degrees, and that becomes an important component when we go for a job or placement. So how that certification is going to take place? I think NIOS should try to establish a dialogue, create a link with different alternative modes which is being taken, which is being offered in different parts of country. Which is the only alternative model of education. The entire possibility, and I think NIP is very clear that they say that these alternative models of schooling will be respected, nurtured, and encouraged. I want to pose a point of caution that if NIOS moves along the formal education system, becomes an alternative for that, becomes a supplement for that only, then it loses its value. I think my desire is that NIOS should provide a model which is much better than the formal education system, because formal education system has many limitations. So here we see an opportunity to augment teaching, learning, assessment processes and to nurture talent in different areas. That requires research, that requires understanding the changes which are taking place. Professor Rambust has already indicated certain areas. The whole issue of IQ is just useless because there are many ways in which our intellect works. The person who is connected with the modern theory of intelligence, Howard Gardner, talks of 9 or 10 kinds of intelligence. So there are various ways in which people can be talented. I think MS Dhoni and the great Sachin Tendulkar are very weak if you compare them on your IQ test and the formal education system. So there are avenues. If you go to music or dance, you have the scholars, you have people who have reached to great heights. The competence is reflected in many, many areas. I think NIOS and other systems should think in this way, not just an alternative to the formal education. Those who have failed there, those who have not been able to cope with them and they come here, I think that's ridiculous. It should be broader, it should be more efficient, more efficacious, and should provide opportunities to a variety of talents. जिन भिन्न भिन्न प्रतिभाओं की समाज में आवश्यकता है, उन प्रतिभाओं को कैसे हम आगे बढ़ाएं, वह भारतीय ज्ञान के क्षेत्र भी हो सकते हैं। मैं समझता हूं कि उनकी बड़ी आवश्यकता है। आप उनको अनावश्यक मानकर छोड़ देते हैं और कभी कभी याद करते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है। ज्योतिष भी उतना ही आवश्यक है, धर्मशास्त्र भी उतना ही आवश्यक है, वेदांग भी उतने ही आवश्यक है। तो हमारा जो ओपन स्कूलिंग की अवधारणा का क्षेत्र है, उसे व्यापक करने की चिंतन को भी ले आइए और उन सारे भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार के किस्में शामिल करने की जरूरत है, चाहे वह खेल का हो, चाहे वह संगीत का हो या खेती बाड़ी का हो। तमाम सारे क्षेत्र हैं। मैं कुछ दिनों तक मनोविज्ञान विषय को देख रहा था NIOS में। उस समय कई बार देखने का अवसर और जान करके खुशी हुई कि तमाम तरह के वोकेशंस, व्यवसायों के लिए मार्ग खुल रहा है। मैं समझता हूं कि हमारा ध्यान केवल उधर ही नहीं जाना चाहिए। हमको NIS को एक सर्वांगीण विकास की व्यवस्था के रूप में विकसित करना चाहिए। इसके कलेवर को पुनः विचार करने की आवश्यकता है। यह केवल औपचारिक शिक्षा में असफल लोगों को अवसर देने का माध्यम नहीं होना चाहिए। यह सचमुच एक वैकल्पिक व्यवस्था होनी चाहिए। हमारी तो यही आकांक्षा है। यह उनको भी अवसर दे, ठीक है, लेकिन जो ज्ञान के विभिन्न क्षेत्र हैं उनको भी अपनी परिधि में ले आकर के इसे सर्वांगीण विकास का माध्यम बनाना अत्यंत आवश्यक है। इसकी क्षमता इसलिए भी व्यापक है कि इसकी पहुंच की कोई सीमा नहीं है। यह कहीं भी जा सकता है, क्षेत्र के बोर्ड से जुड़ा हुआ नहीं है। मैं यह भी ध्यान, और अंग्रेजी में इसकी सामग्री तैयार होती है, हो सकता है कि अन्य भाषाओं में भी हो रहा हो, लेकिन यह एक बहुत बड़ी आवश्यकता है। मैं इस बात पर बल देना चाहता हूं कि भारत की जितनी भी महत्वपूर्ण भाषाएं हैं जिसमें शिक्षा भिन्न भिन्न क्षेत्रों में दी जा रही है, जब हम मातृभाषा में शिक्षा की बात करते हैं, then it becomes very important that we should promote teaching learning through NIOS within the framework of various languages which are used in different parts of country. कन्नड़ में भी हो, मलयालम में भी हो, गुजराती में भी हो, तमाम सारी भारत की जो भाषाएं हैं उन सब में इसका प्रचार प्रसार होना चाहिए। जब तक हम ऐसा नहीं करेंगे तब तक हम एक समर्थ भारत की कल्पना नहीं कर सकेंगे। कहा जाता है कि शिक्षा मुक्ति का माध्यम है, तो मुक्ति का अर्थ क्या है? जब तक आप समर्थ नहीं होंगे तब तक मुक्ति का कोई अर्थ नहीं होता। If we want to make India one which is self-reliant, then it will become very important that you take into account the different languages, kinds of talents, different areas of competence. They need to be incorporated with that NIS should think about linking with alternative models of education and trying to see what are the changes, what are the systemic problems are there, and important that there will be exchange of learning experiences across the different alternative systems which are available. I will stop here and hope that these points will be taken into consideration. An attempt will be made to see can be augmented. A larger section of the people who contest, who come from areas which are very remote. I think we have to make efforts to extend the scope of the services of energy. For giving me opportunity to share my ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mishra ji. You mentioned very rightly, and we also hold the same view that this alternative model of schooling, or for example the NIOS, has not to be simply a supplement to the formal system. Rather, it has to come forward with many vibrant options and opportunities, and we will be surely seeing today certain examples in the form of alumni here who can prove that if India has to become self-reliant, so as youth in the country, this alternative model of schooling has offered them an option. Sir, a very quick question to you. Sir, as you are mentioning that we have to, and this is very well sketched in the national education policy also, that we have to look for our indigenous knowledge, indigenous culture, and with that we have to move towards becoming global citizen. Each and every child in the country, each and every learner has to move towards that. Sir, you as a person of psychology, what prospect or what progress or direction you see among the parents to take alternative model as a very good option? Sir, very shortly, very quickly I would like to know from you, sir. Professor Mishra.
Most a very interesting question. We see that what happens in society is based on the information available, and perhaps there is the effect of modeling. I think all of us is something called event management. If you look at the various courses which are being offered, the range that is there and the competition which is there, you have institutes which are helping to learn information technology. You have various kinds of opportunities which are coming related to market force, that is related to certain kinds of contributions of.
Sir, there is some issue in
consumer
network, sir. Yeah.
That I can't help. The network is like that. It is not stable. I'm helpless.
So, sir, I have got an idea. Yeah. Sir.
So
thank you, sir.
we have to create the model, and if we provide that opportunity, people will come. I think in Mirambika there is a large number of students who want to, and parents are there and they want to get students admitted. So if we present our case before the society, if we provide that these are the various opportunities and better opportunity, then people will definitely be attracted towards them. So we need to communicate effectively with the people.
So thank you, sir. I request you to remain connected with us. We will be seeing the successful stories. A very quick question to Professor Ambas. Sir, very briefly, I just want to know from your take that the Bhumi Aadhar program you mentioned, or the other kind of programs where you came up with certain very good materials that are well aligning with the learning outcome. So, the policy that wants to handle the out of school children. So, you see the prospects of such efforts from alternative model sector, and what is your take on that, sir, very briefly?
That was for originally it was planned for re-entry into the formal system. The children who were out of school, who dropped out of the system or who never went to school, there was a variety of profile, from illiterate to semi-literate to those who had relapsed. So, the idea was that we rehabilitate them and to bring them back to the schooling system. So, that was one model. Later on it was found that the economic compulsion, the family compulsions remained the same. So, if once they have brought into the system, they dropped out again. So, the idea of alternative schooling to run parallel to the formal system came to stay. The second point that was that these children, having matured in the society with experiences of operating in the society, were better equipped in terms of experience, that they only needed some input in terms of formal learning of deciphering this alphabets, deciphering this word, deciphering the, and the moment they learned that, their learning graph was a meteoric rise. For example, they were operating for the post office. They knew what a postcard is, what they were doing at that time, how they go and post the letter, what the postmaster does, whereas the lesson in class 3 was a post office. So, the only thing that they were lacking was how to decipher what is written in the textbook and to match it with their experience. So, this kind of I would say mismatch. The formal system went from lesson to lesson and then related to experiences. Here the experience was rich, only you had to convert it into a formal deciphering. I am not using word reading. Deciphering the alphabet and conjunct of those alphabets into a word, meaningful word with which he is already familiar with. So, the hierarchy of learning got a little bit upset in terms of traditional subjects. For example, I will give you one example. If you permit me for just a minute, I was teaching children how to make paper bags of different denomination, different sizes for carrying mungfali. And through this I wanted to make them learn the square and the rectangle and the measurement, etc. Now, they were unlettered Musahar community boys in Bariarpur village of Bihar. So, I bought some newspapers and then asked them to cut off a specific size. They didn't know how to read a scale. So, I said, okay, notice this mark, this is one single line, notice this mark, this is one single line and a shape like which we call 2. So, you measure it, and when they started measuring it and cutting the paper, I told them you must note it down so that when you don't have the stencil for cutting it, you know that from where to where you. So, the child learned 12 before it could learn 3. And there was a great debate in the NCERT, you are upsetting all the hierarchy of learning. So, these are some of the academic issues that I had to contend with in that situation. So, everywhere the pedagogical thinking or pedagogical seriatim that we build is not always practicable. In this case, you have to devise and improvise.
Yes, sir. So, thank you, sir. And It was a very nice panel discussion, and we saw the possibilities that the alternative model offers. And now we are very excited to meet our alumni, and then they will be telling us about their success stories. So, one of my colleague will be taking us to interact with them. So, I request Dr. Rajiv Singh, Director Academic, National Institute of Open Schooling, to kindly take it further. Over to Dr. Rajiv.
Thank you very much, sir. As it has been deliberated by both the panelists, Professor Gisra Sahab, Ambas Sahab in detail, and the chairman NIS, what does alternative models of education stands for, what's the way ahead in front of NIS and the entire country. As we all know, national education policy has emphasized about the issues what are plaguing in the formal education system, what has been dwelt upon Professor Ambas and Girishwar Mishra Sahab in detail. There are approx 2 crore children who are out of school. How to bring them back in the mainstreaming of the education system. Further, the NEP has also stressed upon the requirement and the need of doing away with the hard boundaries what is being offered in the present formal education system. The time has come. We must try to cater the interest and the requirement of the present generation learners who have to face the 21st century. As we all know, down the line after 7 or 8 years, the country and the entire world is going to see a very different paradigm altogether, with artificial intelligences, 3D design, data management. The education system is also going to be different. The job opportunities, the employability, what we are going to see down the line 5-6 years are entirely going to be different. The subject combination, the choice of subjects, what are being offered today requires to have a revisit. So, I must convey my thanks to my chairman, Professor Siddhar Srivastava ji, Professor Girishwar Mishra Sahab and Professor Ambas Sahab for guiding all of us and giving us insight about the alternative model of education. It's very proud and privilege for NIS that today we are having alumni with us. They have proved themselves to be a very successful. They came to NIS, and because of the NIS, they could pursue their hobby or their aspiration. Today we are having Professor R. Jagannathan. He is a former Vice Chancellor of Middle East University, United Arab Emirates. He is a man of academia who decided to pursue medicine at the age of 65. We'll listen to him. Then we are having Ms. Niranjana. She has joined with us from Chennai. She is a very young ventriloquist and she has carried out a very promising hobby or career in the field of ventriloquist. And what the information we are having, that she is the only ventriloquist who has achieved to this feat at such a very young age of her life. Then we are having Sarita Pathak ji. She is a instructor of cutting and tailoring at one of the sub-regional institute of NIS. Presently she is stationed at Amethi. Then we are having Mrs. Seema Singh. She is a very young dynamic yoga instructor and she has brought lot of laurels in the field of yoga. She has also got a very prestigious UP Gold Medal award by the UP State Government. So I would request first of all Professor R. Jagannathan sir to please give us the NIS or how NIS was helpful in pursuing your hobby at the age of 65. Professor Jagannathan sir.
So, Professor Srivastava, the chairman of NIOS, Mr. Professor Amesh, Professor Girish Mishra, my fellow panelists and distinguished participants, especially Mr. P. the former regional director of NIOS at Chennai. I had an opportunity of pursuing my deep education. See, I am basically a professor of physics. I worked with the two Nobel laureates, and then career-wise, I'm a physicist. And then at the age of 65, after my retirement, I developed somehow a passion to do medicine. But at that time, I found the Medical Council of India told that you have not taken biology in your 12th standard. There is a S12 university some 45 years back, so you can't do medicine. So I joined NIOS. I did the 11th standard and 12th standard biology, passed them, and then joined the MD program at West Indies. It's really a good one because when I joined the international MD program over there, I found my knowledge of biology is comparable with the other international students because the quality of the materials that was given by NIOS was of real global standard. And also the self-paced examination system, on-demand examination system, those things, and the meticulous administrative system that they have in place are all innate to them. So that seamlessly helped me to achieve my goal. That's one thing. And when I joined the NIOS as a student, I visited the Chennai office. I didn't disclose Mr. Ravi or the office people that I am a vice chancellor. Just as a senior person, I just joined. When the results came, I went to the office to thank everybody, and then I showed them my business card and introduced myself that I am a vice chancellor. So great that everybody was so cooperative, even while a senior person is approaching, without any hesitation, they have been doing all the help. And I find the NIOS is giving a platform to seamlessly to pursue the career opportunities which were denied by the formal man-made barrier system. So I am thankful to the NIOS. Later on, now I am working as the president of a medical university in West Indies. And when I have been discussing about the certain thought issues and workshops, we used to discuss at one occasion the PCR techniques and the gene splicing. I found the material content in the NIOS book was factually absolutely correct. That's really a credit to the NIOS system. So I appreciate the NIOS for continuing its amazing task. And this now I request my fellow panelists to reflect their views. Now this is my reflection as an alumni of NIOS. The second round, I would like to speak as a teacher and also as an academician, giving some suggestions to the NIOS. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv. You are an wonderful moderator in you. Please continue ahead with the other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I would request Ms. Niranjana to please join with us and tell us how NIS proved itself helpful in pursuing your career. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would request Ms. Niranjana to please join with us and tell us how NIS proved itself helpful in pursuing your career.
Yeah. Hello. Good morning, sir. Am I visible? I'm not sure. Am I? Yes, I am. So good morning. First, I only want to talk. Okay, please go ahead. So first of all, I am trying to convert myself from an animal to a human being. So today only I came to know that there is a God called NIOS, and I was so astonished and mind blown by the vision of our God in us. Thinking you should not only judge a person by their studies, but also their character. That is super idea, sir. But so I hope that in every God also understand the depth of your vision and implements this very soon in every goding system. The world will be beautiful, right? I'm so shocked that you can talk a lot of English. Then you can, I can also. Okay. So let me start by introducing myself. I'm Niranjana. I did my secondary and I'm doing my senior secondary in NIOS as well as I'm learning acupuncture. So I started walking on the path of ventriloquism from the age of 4. So I would like to say that my mom strongly believes that what might ever the bigger person you might become in the future, if you don't have a proper base of education, there might be a state of imbalance, how big a person you are. So she made sure to give me an ease of education. So she did a massive research on finding me a way to balance my passion as well as my education. Then we discovered NIOS. So I started loving the method of learning over there because the ease of choosing your subject. Then when you can appear for your exam, yes, I am ready to write the exam. Yes, like so, and so many things you can choose your time when to study. So there's so many things which made me love NIOS. And even now I'm discovering that there are so many options, that is student friendly options that are available in NIOS. So I'm thankful for having such an amazing mentor and guidance from Ravi sir for introducing me that okay, there are so many other options for me to complete my system and not being a burden of studies, right? So what I would feel that should happen is there should be more amazing people like you discussing and making people understand the beautifulness of and the ease of NIOS, our board system, and many colleges should understand the value of NIOS. So yeah, that got a recognition as well. Yes, thank you for making me a part of this. I feel immensely blessed for this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Miss Niranjana, what all subjects you opted for in your secondary and senior secondary, and how you find it different from a very formal education system where the subjects are being offered to the learners?
Yes, so I chose pure science. I chose physics, chemistry, and biology. Since I actually wanted to do naturopathy, and now I'm doing acupuncture. So science have something I always wanted to do, but I'm not a math ka person. But NIOS, there's a beautiful option of choosing your subject which you want to do, and when you can do it is also in your hands, right? So that is something I felt really great. So that's what I have studied in a normal regular boarding school, and now stepping into NIOS, there's a lot of difference. There's a better understanding of subjects in our books, and the depth is much more better. And that's what you can take your own time to understand the subject, and you can write it with your understanding, not just writing what the textbook says. So that's something I really liked about NIOS.
Thank you. Thank you, Niranjana. It's good to hear that NIOS was successful in ensuring and providing the content or the knowledge to you at your personal space and the time. Thank you. अब हमारे बीच में मैं चाहूँगा सरिता जी से बात करना, जो कि एक इंस्ट्रक्टर हैं कटिंग एंड टेलरिंग की और अमेठी में हैं, और उनके अथक प्रयास से उन्होंने कई सारी बच्चियों को भी ट्रेंड किया है जो आज स्वावलंबन हैं और अपनी जीविकोपार्जन खुद कर रहे हैं। तो मैं स्वागत करता हूं सरिता जी का, और उनके मुख से सुनना चाहेंगे हम लोग कि NIOS किस तरह से उनके प्रयासों में एक सार्थक और सहायता सिद्ध हुआ है। सरिता जी।
नमस्कार।
एनआईएस किस तरह से आपके जीवन में एक सार्थक रोल निभाया है, जिससे आप एक सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर बन पाई हैं और आपने बाकी बच्चियों को भी सीखने का कटिंग और टेलरिंग में जो मौका दिया है, उसमें एनआईएस का कैसा रोल पाती हैं आप?
जी, मैंने अपनी 12th की पढ़ाई पूरी की, तो उसके बाद मैंने आगे करने के लिए सोचा, तो मुझे एक फ्रेंड ने मुझे एनआईएस के बारे में बताया। तो एनआईओएस को मैंने कटिंग टेलिंग मुझे पसंद था, तो मैंने इसको ज्वाइन किया। मैंने यहाँ पे सीखा और बहुत अच्छे से सीखा। मैंने यहाँ ट्रेनिंग ली और उसके बाद मेरी शादी बहुत इंटीरियर इलाके में हो गई, जो अमेठी टाउन से भी 10 किलोमीटर दूर था। तो मुझे अपने कैरियर के लिए कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा था, लेकिन जो मेरे पास ट्रेनिंग थी, जो मेरा हुनर था, उसका मैंने इस्तेमाल किया और मैंने वहाँ पे अपना एक इंस्टीट्यूट खोला, और जो कि धीरे धीरे करके आज मेरे ख्याल से 11-12 साल से मैं उसको चला रही हूँ और बहुत अच्छे से स्टैंड कर गया है। और कुछ बच्चे वहाँ पे मेरे यहाँ पे 20-25 स्टूडेंट हमेशा रहते हैं, वो सीखते हैं और जो सीखने के बाद उनको वहीं पे मैं अपना काम देती हूँ। और जो रेडीमेड शॉप्स पे मैं कपड़े जाते हैं कुछ, वो अपने सेंटर पे मैं बनवाती हूँ और उसके मैं वहाँ पे भेजती हूँ। और मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है कि मैं अपने ज़िंदगी में अपने पैरों पे खुद खड़ी हुई। मैंने एनआईएस से कोर्स किया, इसके सर्टिफिकेट की मुझे बहुत वैल्यू मिली और बहुत इसका मुझे फ़ायदा मिला, और जिससे मैं अपने कुछ बच्चों को भी मैंने काम दिया, तो मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है, मुझे अच्छा बेनिफिट हुआ इसका कोर्स करने के बाद।
आप कुछ अगर संदेश देना चाहेंगी जो हमारे एनआईएस के लर्नर्स हैं, जो व्यावसायिक प्रशिक्षण एनआईएस से ले रहे हैं, कटिंग, टेलरिंग और बाकी अन्य कोर्सों में, उनके लिए आप क्या संदेश देना चाहेंगे?
बहुत अच्छा कोर्स है, यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छे से सिखाया जाता है। और अमेठी में तो मैंने जो कोर्स मैंने वहाँ पे जो दिया है, वहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग दी है मैंने, तो उन बच्चों के लिए तो बहुत अच्छा रहा कि उन्हें फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट सिखाया जा रहा है। ऐसी ट्रेनिंग जो बहुत सारे पैसे खर्च करके मिलती हैं, उन्हें फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मिल रही है, ये बहुत अच्छी बात है। बस एक सुझाव मेरा एनआईएस के लिए है, अगर हो सके तो उन लोगों के लिए स्वरोजगार की थोड़ी सी सुविधा अगर उन्हें दी जाए, तो बच्चे सीखने के बाद अपने पैर पर वो खड़े हो सकते हैं।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सरिता जी। हमारी एक और अलमनाई हमारे बीच में हैं, मिसेस सीमा पाठक जी हैं, जिन्होंने एनआईएस के साथ 2019 में उन्होंने 1 वर्षीय योगा टीचर ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम को पास किया है और उत्तर प्रदेश में उनको बेस्ट योगा इंस्ट्रक्टर का गोल्ड मेडल का अवार्ड भी मिला है। तो मैं अभी सीमा पाठक जी से हम लोग सुनना चाहेंगे कि एनआईएस किस तरह से आपके प्रयासों में एक सहायता और सार्थक साबित हुआ है।
जी सर, नमस्कार। मेरा नाम सीमा पाठक है और मैं अलीगढ़ से बिलोंग करती हूँ। तो जैसा कि मैंने अपनी स्कूलिंग अलीगढ़ से ही किया 10+2, और उसके बाद मैंने TR गर्ल्स डिग्री कॉलेज से BA यानी ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट किया। फिर उसके बाद मैं कुछ ऐसा कोर्स देख रही थी जिससे कि मेरा फ्यूचर बन सके और कैरियर बने मेरा। तो एक दिन मैंने न्यूज़पेपर में देखा कि NIOS यूनिवर्सल पैरामेडिकल इंस्टीट्यूट का ऐड देखा मैंने उसमें। तो उसमें पहली बार मैंने और देखा, तो मैंने फिर उसमें योगा टीचर ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम का कोर्स देखा। तो मैंने उसमें देखने के बाद जो उसके कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं डॉक्टर हरी सिंह यादव सर, मैंने उनसे कांटेक्ट किया और कांटेक्ट करके मैंने उनसे बातचीत की। उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि NIOS के कोर्स और NIOS के बारे में बताया कि NIOS एक जो और बोर्ड हैं वैसे ही ओपन बोर्ड है, तो उससे रिलेटेड। तो फिर मैंने वहाँ पे अपना एडमिशन लिया और मैंने 2019 में पास आउट किया। तो पास आउट करने के बाद फिर मेरे को बहुत कॉन्फिडेंस आया, और कॉन्फिडेंस आने के बाद मैंने अलीगढ़ में ही डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल योग चैम्पियनशिप में पार्टिसिपेट किया, जिसमें कि मुझे गोल्ड मेडल मिला। और फिर उसके बाद मैंने बनारस में आयोजित हुई स्टेट लेवल योग चैम्पियनशिप में पार्टिसिपेट किया, जिसमें मुझे प्रथम स्थान प्राप्त हुआ वहाँ भी, और मुझे गोल्ड मेडल मिला। और वहाँ से आने के बाद मुझे यूनिवर्सल पैरामेडिकल इंस्टीट्यूट ने सम्मानित किया और मेरा फ़ोटो अखबार में आया। तो मुझे और मेरे परिवार को बहुत अच्छा लगा। और NIOS की मैं पहली योग ट्रेनर थी जिसने कि पूरे यूपी में ये मुकाम हासिल किया, तो जिसके लिए मुझे NIOS के हेडक्वार्टर बुलाया गया और प्रोत्साहन पुरस्कार देकर प्रदान किया। और मैं अभी वर्तमान में अपने अलीगढ़ में ही योग कोचिंग क्लासेस दे रही हूँ, और जिससे कि मुझे 30 से 35 हज़ार रुपये पर मंथ इनकम हो रही है। तो मैं एक बहुत ही मिडिल फैमिली से ताल्लुक़ रखती हूँ, और बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद NIOS का। मैं आज यहाँ पे हूँ सिर्फ NIOS की वजह से। और
थैंक यू सीमा जी।
तो मैं NIOS का बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ कि मेरा कैरियर संभालने के लिए।
जी, thank you very much, Professor Greshwar Mishra Saab. He spoke about the theory of multiple intelligences propounded by Howard Gardner Saab, wherein he said there are 8 to 9 different type of intelligences, and the education system should try to take out the innate potential of the talents or the attributes what a learner is having. And everybody cannot be good in all the intelligences, but the education system should try to find it out. Somebody might be good with linguistic intelligence, somebody might be good with logico mathematical intelligence. Then Amba Saab, he spoke about ki assessing a scholastic component is important, but assessing the other co-scholastic and the effective attributes is also very important, which the education system must try to address it. So through our alumni, we could see that NIOS is trying to address a very diverse clientele. We are here NIOS is trying to cater the requirement of scholastic subjects. The same hand, NIOS is trying to address the vocational skilling also. So I would like to request to play a short documentary of one Dr. Pravleen Singh. He is the alumnus of NIOS, and now he is a very leading medical practitioner in United Kingdom. He has pursued engineering, but later in life he realized that he could do more good in the field of medical. He opted for biology from National Institute of Open Schooling in the senior secondary. He passed, and because of that he could pursue his hobby of doing career in medicine. We will request you to play the documentary of Dr. Pravleen Singh, please.
My name is Pravleen Singh. Roughly 17 years ago, I passed my class 12 board exams with mathematics. Later, I decided to pursue a career in medicine. As you might know, to be eligible to write exams to enter a medical school, one has to pass class 12 with biology, which I had not. That's when I came to know about NIOS, and NIOS allowed me to reappear for class 12 while I prepared for my medical entrance exams in 2004. And that's when I passed class 12 through NIOS and began my journey in medicine. In the last 15 years, I have become a doctor. I have finished my post-graduation in psychiatry. I've had the privilege to complete a fellowship at the University of Florida in America. People who finish their schooling from the NIOS can pursue any career that they choose for themselves, be it medicine, engineering, law, or the arts. And I know I have the NIOS to thank for these amazing opportunities that I've had in my career so far. Thank you so much.
I would like to quote T.S. Eliot's in 1939. He very beautifully he wrote, "Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge we have lost in information?" What exactly spoke by Professor Ambas Saab, we will have to differentiate between information and the knowledge. Now I would request Professor Ambas Saab once again to give us the suggestions or the roadmap to NIOS in the field of alternative models of education.
Thank you. In the emerging technology, I was with Delhi University webinar here last evening, and what I thought was, with the emergence of the new technology, artificial intelligence is coming to the fore. and artificial intelligence can take up any kind of challenge that we have in the field of education, but unfortunately for them and fortunately for us, it cannot replace emotions. And emotion and intelligence taken together is human being. Therefore, I think that the scope for education per se is, in order to survive in this whole emerging scenario, we have to give due weightage to emotional quotient of a human being, which fortunately for us, the artificial AI cannot replace. And therefore, humanism should become the centerpiece of the entire educational process. The more old I grow, the more I realize that education is the only means of sustaining humanity as such. Otherwise, with all technological development, artificial intelligence, every effort is being made to replace human being, to mechanize everything, and therefore making human the population, particularly in our country where the population dividend is very high, we feel that there is need for a shift in educational thrust from knowledge dominated, understanding dominated, skill dominated to habit, attitude and values domination. Professor Girishwar Mishra highlighted this, and I am really very enamored to him for bringing out this particular aspect. And the future of education is the human element, human input that is required, is perhaps on, if not emphasizing, over-emphasizing this particular aspect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ambasht. And as we are moving towards the conclusion of this today's session, a few points I just want to reiterate after listening to the panelists and seeing the stories of our success, our alumni, and listening to Dr. Pravalin Singh, he is there abroad. I want to just reiterate a few points. First point that I find as the essence of the discussion today, that alternative model of schooling has not to be seen as a supplement of the formal system, rather it has to be placed very empathetically as a powerful option, and the flexibility and the kind of options it offers that we have to just take to different stakeholders. And as we found that from listening to our alumni, that it was an element of awareness, that they became aware and then they came for this. So, this Shikshak Parv today and this session today, I feel that it will be bringing awareness to all listeners and different stakeholders, functionaries connected through different medium with this program. One more point which has emerged very strongly, that the alternative model of schooling has to conform to the learning outcomes and the national curriculum framework for school education, and it has to be really bringing along with the knowledge and understanding the other learning, the affective and psychomotor domains, they are to be handled, and empathy, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, creativity, innovation, all these aspects are also to be taken along in the alternative model of schooling. So, these were a few points that emerged today, and I am really very thankful to all the listeners who are here and viewers who are connected in this program. And I am really thankful to my team for arranging these alumni. It was a very, and they agreed to come to the studio. That is also a very big confidence for us that they are still connected with this institution. So, I am thankful to them also, and I am thankful to my colleague, other colleagues, for example, Dr. Vijay, who has arranged these alumni, and I am thankful to panelists, and mainly I am thankful to Ministry of Education for giving this opportunity to showcase the provisions and options of alternative model of schooling on this occasion of Shiksha Parv. धन्यवाद.